Growing up in Southern California, I got to go to Disneyland a bunch of times. Then, in 2012, I expanded my Disney World out to Disney World, finally visiting all those parks by 2022. It wasn't until the summer of 2025 that I got my first taste of Disney overseas, going to the Tokyo Disney Resort, Tokyo Disneyland opening in 1983, and DisneySea in 2001. It was DisneySea that I was really interested in. This park apparently being the most beautiful Disney park in the world, and maybe doesn't even need the Disney qualifier, just the most beautiful park in the world. This was my first park in Japan, and I got a day and a half here, and today I'm going to share my thoughts. This is my review of Tokyo DisneySea. Just note, this video is going to focus on DisneySea, and I won't be talking much about Disneyland here. Given the fact so many attractions are the same between there and the main Disney parks in California and Florida, I'm not going to give it its own video. Later on, I'll rank the rides I rode at both parks, so that'll give me a chance to talk about some of the more impressive rides, like Beauty and the Beast and Pooh's Honey Hunt. We stayed at the Hilton Tokyo Bay, part of a bunch of hotels that's linked by the monorail system, and that thing is great. You can buy a pass for as many days as you need it, and you just scan in and out, and it takes you from the hotels, to DisneySea, to the mall area, to Disneyland, and back to the hotels. We used it to go all these places. The Hilton also had a free shuttle that picked you up and dropped you off right at the hotel, but the monorail was faster. Just note, it's not free like the shuttle is. We got to DisneySea well before the park opened, I'd say about 45 minutes early, but as the monorail was passing by, all you could see was an ocean of umbrellas. All those people were lined up for security, and this was brutal to wait in. It was a Sunday, so that made it a bit more crowded, and it was crazy hot and there was no shade, hence all the umbrellas. It was a full hour wait to get through security, and by the time we got to the front, we found the process was very simple if you didn't have bags. So it's not like they're probing everyone in line. This process can definitely be done better. We also noticed the line wasn't backfilling behind us, so in the end, we could have gotten there 45 minutes later and still gotten to the park around the same time. We used this knowledge for the next day at Disneyland, didn't bother getting there at rope drop, and walked right in. So, lesson learned, either get there insanely early, or get there a little bit late. You walk in and see the giant globe centerpiece. Hang a left and see the icon of this park, the giant volcano that encloses Journey to the Center of the Earth, their signature attraction that opened with the park in 2001. We downloaded the app. That got us wait times and gave us the option to get fast passes. They have two kinds. The 40th anniversary pass was free, but we never used it. The rides included on that weren't very good, aside from Indiana Jones, but those spots filled up quick. Also, Raging Spirits, but that didn't have any spots until late afternoon when we check, and it was like 10 a.m. If you don't see a time you like, or you see something's full, keep refreshing and something might pop up. They also have Premier Pass. You have to pay per ride, and on the second day at the park, we did buy one for Soarin'. That ended up being about $13 per person. You can buy those for your whole group on one app if you want. You just need to get all the tickets onto your phone. Or you can send invites to people who already have their ticket loaded onto their own app. It sounds confusing, but they actually do make it easy. We only used one FastPass in the day and a half we were there, and a big part of that was the great Disney ops. You hear so much about slow, thorough Japanese ops, and that was definitely the case at the other parks. But Universal and Disney are in the business of throughput, and those lines move like nobody's business. We were also warned that wait times are grossly overestimated, so we were keeping an eye on the posted time and the actual time we waited, and we found the actual wait was pretty consistently about 60% of the posted wait. So if it said 100 minutes, it would take 60, and if it said 50 minutes, it would take 30. Our first ride was Raging Spirits, and that was posted at 80, and we waited 50. Some rides have a single rider line. I heard these are kinda hit or miss. You'll save tons of time on some, and not much on others. Just note, you will have your party split up. But if that doesn't matter to you, I'd take advantage where you can. We used single rider for Indiana Jones and got on within 15 minutes, and that standby line was probably an hour or more. This was my first park in Japan, so I was still kinda new to the country, and even though I got a taste of this on my first day in the country, Disney really confirmed it. Things really don't cost a lot of money. Your American dollar goes a long way in Japan, and that extended into Disney. We walked up to the snack stand, and you could buy a drink for $1.25. A churro was $3. I got a sandwich at the Bayside restaurant for $6. So if you're starving yourself waiting to leave the park to get affordable food, don't worry about it. Things aren't that expensive here. I felt like Universal's prices were more inflated, but Disney kept it reasonable. That sandwich at Bayside was the only time I ate at the park. My group went to the restaurant Sakura, located in the New York section of the park. I took a look at the menu and said, yeah, this isn't for me. Lots of fried seafood. I just couldn't stomach to even try it, so I can't give an honest review. Also, side note, sometimes when you go to a sit-down restaurant at a park, you worry about tacking a tip on top of your bill, but Japan is not a tipping culture, so that's not a thing. We didn't eat here, but it's hard to miss. The SS Columbia is docked on the American harbor, and that also has a restaurant inside. This ship is massive, and it's one of the icons of the park, and it even includes Turtle Talk with Crush if you want to check out that attraction. Also, being my first park in Japan, I got to really experience that language barrier. When I went to Europe, it seemed like everyone spoke English as a second language and they were fluent. At Disney, it seemed like a good amount of employees spoke English at least good enough to communicate, but we ran into some places like Bayside where they had to bring in a translator. So, my advice, make things simple, point to what you want, don't overcomplicate your orders. It was hard at Disney, and that was one of the better places we went to on the trip when it came to the language barrier. Let's talk about the park layout. This has 8 theme ports. The first one you run into is the Mediterranean Harbor. This is where you see some of the best architecture, the buildings surrounding the water, and it's where you can get on the steamer line, the gondolas, and their main ride is Soaring Fantastic Flight. This was the same as the Soarin' rides at California Adventure and Epcot. You just fly over Tokyo instead of Paris, and you end your ride flying over DisneySea, obviously. The one big difference is the theme. You're not flying with Patrick Warburton. You're in a museum and flying with the ghost of Camellia Falco. This starting with an awesome pre-show, where a screen that looks shockingly like a painting comes to life. Right next to the Mediterranean Harbor is the American waterfront, themed to the early 1900s. And this is where you find the Electric Railway, and ride their 2 big rides. One being Toy Story Mania, the shooting dark ride that was pretty much the same as all the others. My favorite shooting dark ride type, although this one was nothing special. And Tower of Terror. This similar to the one at Hollywood Studios in Florida once the ride starts. This one just having a seatbelt like you find in a car. It has great airtime. You have 2 big drops from the top of the tower, and the real big difference is the overall theme. This one isn't about the Twilight Zone. It follows an evil idol, a very creepy theme. Definitely the scariest Tower of Terror that I've been on. Right in the middle of the park, you have Mysterious Island, the most impressive and kind of spooky area. Once you get inside that volcanic area, you see that vehicle sticking out of the rocks, and it's easy to forget you're at a Disney park. This is a Jules Verne themed land. Its 2 attractions are park originals and themed to his books, one being 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That unfortunately was closed for us, and the other was Journey to the Center of the Earth. I still say this is what the park is known for, mainly because it's completely original to DisneySea. You won't find this ride anywhere else, but the ride type is quite familiar. This is a slot car dark ride, the same ride technology that's used on Epcot's test track, or California Adventure's Radiator Springs Racers. Starting off slow as it winds down to the center of the Earth, passing by all kinds of seemingly extraterrestrial plants and beings. There's fire, there's aliens, and then you see a giant alien animatronic at the very bottom, and that's your cue to get out of there. The vehicle races out of the mountain, up and over the top. On my second ride, I actually got some airtime on this, and the ride ends after that. It's the only ride at DisneySea that I rode twice, even though I didn't love it that much. I thought it was underwhelming. It was still very interesting, and I'm glad I got to ride twice. After you leave Mysterious Island, you find yourself in Mermaid Lagoon, split up into an indoor and outdoor section. So it's nice that kids can have somewhere cool to hang out. And if they want to venture outside, they can ride one of 2 coasters at the park. Flounder's Flying Fish Coaster, a Togo family coaster that opened with the park. It's got a small footprint, pretty much goes up and winds its way down. I was just impressed, this Togo is pretty smooth, and for a kids coaster, it pulls some decent forces. So all in all, I was pretty impressed. If you go left out of here, you find Port Discovery, a water-themed area, and its main ride is Aquatopia, a trackless water ride. Your boat moving and spinning around a lagoon, and apparently there's a wet side and a dry side, the wet side having water jets that pop up and soak you. I didn't ride this because I didn't feel like getting wrecked, but I did ride the other one here, Nemo and Friends Sea Rider, a pretty good simulator, but kinda gets lost in the mix of the other attractions in the park. Around the corner, you have Lost River Delta, representing an archaeological site in a Central American rainforest in the 1930s. Very specific, I know. This was the first land we stopped in because we wanted to ride Raging Spirits, the park's main coaster. This not opening with the park. Rather, it came 4 years later in 2005, a Pinfari-inspired Intamin looper. I heard this was terrible, and granted, it wasn't very exciting, but at the very least, it wasn't rough, and the whole ride footprint had some pretty good theming. Still, it's a weird ride choice for Disney. It's weird that Intamin took inspiration from Pinfari to build this, but it had a long line so people like it. It's not painful. I just can't beat on Disney too much for building this. The other ride is Indiana Jones, Temple of the Crystal Skull. I mentioned earlier that single rider is the way to go. We had a group of 9 and we all got on very quick, and this felt very similar to the California version. On my ride, we kept stopping and starting. It seemed like it was waiting for the car ahead to clear the block zones, so that kinda killed the vibe, but still, it's a must-do ride. To your right, you find the Arabian coast, the main ride here being Sinbad's storybook voyage. This followed the story of Sinbad. It features some impressive animatronics. It gave me Small World vibes, even though that ride actually exists at Tokyo Disneyland, and it was a very long ride. One that doesn't get a long line, so if you want to chill out, enjoy some air conditioning, get some good visuals, get off your feet, go check out Sinbad. In the very back corner of the park, you find the new for 2024 land called Fantasy Springs. This has an impressive rock entrance with Disney characters carved into them, and they have 3 of the most impressive rides to the whole park. Rapunzel's Lantern Festival is very well done, but I felt the ride was too short. Also, they ended the ride with the lanterns, even though that's not anywhere near the end of the movie. So they left a lot on the table. Not sure if they didn't want any spoiler alerts, or they ran out of space and figured, let's just end it with the lanterns. Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure was a very impressive simulator. On the contrary from Rapunzel, this was a long ride. Kinda reminded me of a mild version of Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure. All in all, a very good 3D modern screen dark ride for Disney. We hit those 2 rides on the first night and came back for the second night to wait in line for Anna and Elsa's Frozen Journey. This draws enormous lines, and we waited well over an hour for it, but it was worth it. This is the best ride at the Tokyo Disney Resort. It was so impressive with its projections and animatronics. It told the story well and was so visually impressive. They really hit a home run with this one. Fantasy Springs was such a great addition to the park. It gives the park not only a very Disney element it didn't have before, but 3 very good rides it really needed. I think this park really needed that expansion, and it makes the park so much more complete. We ended the night watching Believe Sea of Dreams, located in the Mediterranean harbor. This had boats instead of floats, going around the main structure, projections on the buildings, flashing lights and fireworks. One annoying thing about the show was the bright light it would flash into the crowd. It was blinding and made it hard to look at the show. I honestly have no idea why they would do this. I almost wonder if something was malfunctioning. It was really annoying. It lasted around 30 minutes, and it seemed like it was over about 4 times before it was actually over. But when it comes to a Disney end of night show, it was pretty well done. So, in the end, is this the world's most beautiful park? I don't think so, but it does have some stunning visuals, especially in the front half. Obviously, the Mediterranean harbor and American waterfront, and that whole mysterious island area is as awesome as it is creepy. Don't come here expecting that classic Disney magic. Disneyland next door has more of that. This park is more about adventure from like 1830 to 1930. There is a ton to do here, and I think Fantasy Springs pushes it over the edge to make this truly a complete top-tier park. Don't come here for the coasters. It is by far the worst collection of coasters at any Disney park that I've been to, and probably in the world. But it makes up for it with its collection of unique rides, and even the cookie cutter ones are some of the best rides Disney has to offer, like Toy Story, Tower of Terror, Soarin', and they are different enough to check them out, even if you've ridden the same ones in the US a bunch of times. After the first day and a half, I felt like the park didn't have that one awesome, standout, amazing ride, but Frozen came swooping in at the end and staked that claim. So, in the end, I left satisfied, and even not being a Disney person, I was impressed with DisneySea. That's all I have for the park. Let me know what you think of it, if you've been here and want to add anything, or if it's on your bucket list, if anything here surprised you, or confirmed something you already knew. Before you go, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. I want to thank my Patreons. If you want bonus access, bonus content, and have your name listed at the end of each video, check my links below and join. Also, check out my second channel, where I post copyright-free off-ride footage. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.